Hey, so we're in 2020 now. A decade just ended. Except for a few people who still think 2021 is when the decade would end. But fuck them. So, at the start of the new year, even though we're a month in, I'm starting my YouTube channel, and this is the first video in which I'm endorsing Bollywood. Now, if my accent isn't already a dead giveaway, yes, I'm an Indian, and in 2020, I want you guys to try out Bollywood, whether you're an Indian or not. Alright. I'm seeing people turning away from this video already after hearing the word Bollywood. But just hear me out, okay? So, there's a kind of stigma around Bollywood, especially amongst my generation, who'd rather binge Netflix shows for breakfast and consume Hollywood for lunch. And then there are those guys who'd watch foreign language films for that sophistication, I guess. But, does Bollywood really deserve the flack it gets? Well, yes. But actually, no. Okay, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. Most commercial Bollywood movies are kind of trash, honestly. I'm not exactly defending my case here, but it's not the entire story. So, let me give you a few reasons as to why you must look into Bollywood. Number 1. Now, most of the mainstream Bollywood garbage, not all, but most of them. And you gotta look at this. See this? Not all. Yeah, you watch these. These are the mainstream movies that actually stand out from the crowd by being, movies that actually had a script that wasn't probably auto-generated by a bot and actually had some thought put into it. Yeah, go watch these. So these movies that I'm talking about, let me say it again, have a well-written story, which means they're better than half of the Hollywood movies that you probably watched last year. Oh yeah, I said that. So, non-mainstream movies. Now this is simple. Step 1. You go to the movie calendars of each year. Step 2. Start looking at the names. Step 3. Look for movie names that you've never heard of, you've heard due to some controversy, you find weird. Step 4. Google them. Step 5. Check the details to see if the story, the concept, the actors, the director, etc. are to your liking. Step 6. Read viewer reviews. And do not read critic reviews. I repeat, do not read critic reviews, because they do a really shitty job at telling you why you should and should not watch a movie. So just ignore them. Instead, go with your gut instincts. That tingly feeling in your stomach will lead you to great things. It works for me, and I'm pretty sure it would work for you too. Number 2. Y'all know one thing that kept me away from Bollywood for years? Them songs. Yo, I do not need another song thrown in the movie every 10 minutes. Just chill out, T-Series. Just chill the fuck out. You beat PewDiePie and the world already knows that. Come on now. But in the past few years, I've actually come full circle. And you know what? Bollywood music rocks. Really, it does. But in very specific ways. Let me explain. You know how you try to act all intellectual and go around dissing mumble rappers for being untalented mofos? Yet when you're high and you end up tuning into those exact same mumble rapping mofos to discover the meaning of life? It's kind of the same thing with Bollywood music. You may be trashing them Bollywood party poppers when you're sober in the day, working in the office, but when the night comes around and your blood is more booze than red blood cells, you'll be smashing your hips to the same beats that you were bashing 8 hours ago. That's just how it works. Like you ever got really drunk and now want to dance the heck off, but your insecurities are getting to you and you just can't get loose because that girl across the room is looking straight into your soul? Well, let me just play this song for you. Oh, Saki, 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 आवाज़ है न जाए कोई ख्वाहिश बाकी. Oh, Saki, 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 आवाज़ है न जाए कोई ख्वाहिश बाकी. Oh boy. This is exactly what a man needs to lose his senses to. In fact, I feel like getting drunk right now. I know. Not everyone likes to get drunk and party all the time. So, if you are more comfortable staying in your room and crying in the corner because your girl left you for someone actually decent, unlike yourself, fret not. We've got you covered as well. Here's a playlist of a bajillion romantic songs that were released just last year, courtesy old men sitting atop the film industry, making it proverbially mandatory for every movie to have a bitch-ass romantic song, just for guys like us to sulk in self-pity. Oh shit. On to the next one. Number 3. Culture. Now, if there's something that India is known for across the world, other than our poverty, overly enthusiastic Prime Minister, and our huge population, it's our culture. Or to be more specific, the cultural diversity that a country has to offer. Now this is something that I'm personally quite proud of. We have 22 major languages, not including dozens of local languages and dialects across 29 states. So, we all know that movies are always a great way to know about different cultures, and Indian cinema is no different. But India's diversity comes into play here, and you have hundreds of different settings to work with. So, every movie that you see gets you a different viewing experience. It's like you have all the different flavors of ice cream in front of you, and you get to try all of them. You've got your vanilla, movies that are just there, and seeing them would be very offensive. Just like vanilla, you can't really go wrong with it. This is the shit that most of the country can relate to, and gives you a good superficial picture of what the country is like. Then you've got your chocolate, the one that seems great for the first few times, until you get bored and realize that they are all the same. These are also the movies that give you a false sense of security that you understand our culture, even though you aren't even remotely close. You have your cookies and cream, the one you just started watching because people are absolutely loving it, and it turns out to be actually good. These are the movies that usually focus on people of a certain faction of society and are grounded in reality. Actually, quite accurate to our desi sensibilities. There's Strawberry, for the ones wearing those rose-tinted glasses, and these movies, even though highly unrealistic in their portrayal of love and relationships, and how those go here, often end up showing the legend of Indian parents. Because if you love someone, your parents must be standing in your way as the final boss. And then comes the black currant, the silent kid, the second child, the one that people tend to avoid, and require some serious commitment to grind through. These are your Indian indie/borderline indie movies, the ones that go deep into the Indian ethos and into the factions that even I as an Indian don't know shit about. These movies have taught me about the realities of my own country, and if you are not Indian, could be a gateway into what lies at the core of our lives in this country. These are also the movies that I personally love a lot. Alright now, I know I haven't named a single movie yet, but if you weren't looking at the video for some reason, where I actually have mentioned the names of movies whose clips I've used, most of them are movies that I'd recommend. But for your peace of mind, I'm name dropping some of the movies that I want you guys to get started on. And the first that comes to mind, Gangs of Wasipur. Now this is a quintessential crime thriller that you must watch regardless of what your preferences are. Made by a god and savior director Anurag Kashyap, this is an epic, period. It's a 6-hour long movie which is divided into 2 parts because cinemas couldn't run it in one go. Not going to spoil much, but this is a generational tale spanning 3 generations about a feud between 2 families who, let's just say, are involved in criminal activities as a means to the top. What is the top? You find yourself. What entails as a result of this feud is bloodbath, politics, and mind games played by eccentric characters that are hilarious yet menacing, and who somehow fit their world unimaginably well, and this world just so happens to be real. I know it sounds like a huge commitment, and it is, but it's well worth it. Also, there's a kid who carries a razor blade in his mouth. Enough said. Side note, watch everything that this man has made. Second, 3 Idiots. Now, this is a complete 180 from the last entry. This is a comedy drama from 2010, a decade ago. that has 3 students going to an engineering college for the first time, trying to adapt to their new lives in a place where no one really belongs. Our 3 main characters can't be any more different. One doesn't give a damn about engineering. The second cares too much about his future. And the third couldn't care less about anything. Or so it seems. Yet, they come along to go through the hardships together and discover the flaws in the ways of life from each other's different story arcs. Also, this film has the heart the size of the moon's crater. It is imperfect, but it doesn't need to be, because that's the point. There's also some scenes for gut-busting laughter that created memes before memes were even a thing. Quite a delightful movie to watch. Third, Rockstar. This is a music/romance drama. It's about a guy who wants to become a singer. Simple, right? Well, the guy can sing, but he's missing that special spark that would make him stand out, like Post Malone. So, he wants to experience heartbreak to get over that wall. And he gets it. And his career shoots up. People love him. And he's an icon. People think of him as a rebel. But he gets it so hard that while everything around him is shooting up, he's going on a downward spiral with no end in sight. What ensues is his search for love, accompanied by a downfall of everything that he's built so far. Where would this all go? That gives us one of the most unpredictable character arcs in Bollywood dramas. Period. Also, the director Imtiaz Ali has also managed to make a few other great movies that you might as well check out. Go with these 3, and here are some other movies from similar genres. Similar to Gangs of Wasipur, there's a set of 3 movies, Maqbool, Omkara, Heyyy, which have nothing in common except for the director and the fact that they were inspired by Shakespearean novels, Macbeth, Othello, and Hamlet, and all are amazing. Heyyy being my personal favorite because it was the first one that I saw. For comedy, just watch Hera Fairy and Fir Hera Fairy. These 2 are absolute unrefuted classics. I didn't find them funny, said no man or woman ever. Now, Rockstar is something unique, but let's go with the concept of finding yourself, and the first film that comes to mind is Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, followed by Queen by Kangana Ranaut. These movies that are recommended should be good enough for you, regardless of what your preferences are. Okay, I'm not here to force you to watch Bollywood or anything for that matter, it's all on you. But your boy here is trying to hold your hand and bring you to places you never knew you wanted to be in, unless you've been there. So, why not give it a shot? Now, break the stigma and go watch some Bollywood goodness you've been missing out on. And like the video if you managed to reach till here. Gotta please those algorithm gods. Also, consider subscribing, cause I'm not just sticking to Bollywood and there's a lot coming up ahead.